All right, it's time for a little California weather forecast. Hopefully, you took advantage of some of the sunshine, some of the warm temperatures that we had today. We even had some high 70s in the Salinas Valley. But I say hopefully you took advantage of it because we do have two different storm systems on the way set to bring rainfall for what could be most of next week. So right there, that's the first of the systems that's just been kind of hanging out off of the coast. And as it moves closer towards California, what's going to happen is, you see the way the winds move right here? That's going to be taking moisture and pushing it into California. So then that's going to lead to one round of rainfall. And then you can actually see that there's a second system set to drop down maybe Tuesday and Wednesday. And what's interesting about this one is it looks like, as of right now, this is going to shift a little bit farther into Southern California. So then that's going to lead to most of the rain pushing in over Los Angeles. But again, kind of the key disclaimer that I should say during this forecast is that what you'd call this is a cutoff low. And anytime that happens, there's a lot of uncertainty in the forecast. So especially with the second system, take the timing and totals on it with a grain of salt. But the rainfall expected throughout, I'd say, tomorrow into Monday, that the models are starting to converge a bit more on that one. So let's just fast forward all the way to Thursday and just get a snapshot of what the rainfall looks like across California. You notice there wasn't as much in Southern California until that second system goes in, and then that actually brings it up to some of the highest totals across the state. That yellow represents maybe 5 inches, and then we'll take a closer look at these forecast totals in a minute. And then around the Bay Area, at first glance, that maybe looks like between 1 and 3 inches. So I'll be interested to see exactly what our big cities are getting there when we zoom in. So first we'll zoom into Northern California. We'll look at the timing of the rainfall, then we'll look at the totals for the rainfall, and then we'll do the same for Southern California. So right now, no rain. We had just beautiful sunny conditions throughout the day today. And then it does look like we start to see some rain chances. That's 1 a.m. on Sunday, 4 a.m. on Sunday. At that point, it looks pretty minimal, maybe one or two little blobs of heavy rainfall coming through, but it does look like most of the rain is holding off until about 7 p.m. That you can see the time at the top of the screen here. That's Sunday, 7 p.m. precipitation type and rate. So where the green is, that's your light rain. Where the yellow to orangish is, that's your moderate to heavy rain. So it's as we get into Sunday evening into Sunday night that you start to see the rainfall become a bit more widespread, and then you also see more of those pockets of heavy rainfall. And there's some chance for some thunderstorms as well. It just looks like a slight chance as of right now, so we'll have to stay tuned on that one. And then where you see the purple, that's the wintry mix, and then where you see the blue, that's where you're getting some of your snow. But notice Monday 4 a.m., that's normally when you'd be expecting us to have some very cool temperatures. But you notice around Tahoe, it's still in the green, which means rainfall. And part of the reason for that is these systems are pulling in air from the south. So that air is going to be a little bit warmer. So with the snow we're getting on this system, I'll show it in a minute, but it looks like it's going to be pretty minimal. So not the best system for the skiers and snowboarders out there, but we should see a little something. So just continuing here, now we're getting into Monday, 1 p.m. Looks like there's still just scattered showers across much of Northern California. And then as we get into Tuesday, overall, it looks like you're seeing less of that yellow color. So as you get into Tuesday, it looks like it transitions more into light to moderate rainfall. And then as you get into Wednesday, that's where much of Northern California actually looks to be clearing up at this point, because a lot of the heavier rainfall is moving down into Southern California. Again, with that one, big disclaimer, because there is a chance that this low ends up shifting a little bit farther north, and then all of that wind will be pushing in the rainfall directly into Northern California. So with that one, yeah, I'm not going to lock in any totals just yet for that second system. But let's just click through here. Let's go to, this is Sunday, 1 p.m. You can see there's been some, maybe a a few hundredths across parts of Northern California. But then it's as we get into Sunday night into Monday morning. This is maybe something you'll want to think about for your Monday morning commute. That's where you start to see some of that purplish color to reddish color, which if you look down on the legend here, that's over an inch, maybe 2 inches. And then as we fast forward all the way through Wednesday, that's where you maybe even see a little of that yellow, which could be up to 3 or 4 inches in parts of the North Bay. Santa Cruz Mountains looks to be in the red. That's about 2 to 3 inches there. And then parts of Marin County look to be in the red as well, so between 2 and 3 inches. San Francisco looks to be in the purple, which would be 1 and 2. And then Sacramento, 2 inches right there. Oh, and I also noticed that there's actually numbers next to the city names. So that's a little more helpful than just looking at the color. Now, one thing that you always think about when a storm is coming in, especially what you'd call an atmospheric river. Now, a lot of people don't really like that term, but it is technically just a good way to describe what's happening. There's just a lot of water vapor in the atmosphere, and it's flowing in. And it's very concentrated. It's almost like a river in the sky. The key thing I want to point out, though, is not all atmospheric rivers are bad. Once you get into the category 4, category 5, that's where you get a lot of flooding. But this one, and I believe it is being called an AR maybe 2, so atmospheric river 2 on the scale, that's where it's mostly beneficial. So with a lot of this rainfall that we're seeing move into Northern California, you notice it's not a huge amount, and it's spread out over a very long period of time. So that's the best way to pick up rain. Mostly beneficial for your water supply, as opposed to if you picked up all of this rain in one day, that's where you could maybe lead to some flooding. But at the same time, we don't have very saturated soils right now, so our soils are going to be able to absorb a lot of that water. Now, clicking through here, that's Monday at 4 p.m. San Francisco does show a 30 mile per hour wind gust. North Bay, maybe around 30 miles per hour, stretching into Stockton, Merced, Sacramento. That's not terrible in terms of wind. We've certainly seen much stronger storms than that. So, yeah. And then that looks to be about the strongest it gets. So, not too bad of a storm in terms of wind, but at 30 miles per hour, that can still maybe take some branches down, which could lead to a power outage here or there. But it's not one of those systems that has 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, so that's good to see. Now let's look down at Southern California. Notice if there's a few showers popping up, especially along the central coast throughout the day Sunday. And then as you get into Monday 4 a.m., remember, key time that we're talking about right now is Sunday night into Monday morning. That's when the rainfall looks to be picking up. And then it's just some scattered showers through much of Tuesday, much of Wednesday. But now keep an eye on Los Angeles and just all of Southern California. So you get into Wednesday at 1 a.m. That's when the second low starts to drop down right by Southern California. So that's where we start to see some of the yellow showing up down here. And the key thing that I'm noticing is it sticks around for a pretty long period of time. That's now all the way into Thursday at 1 a.m., still into Thursday at 10 a.m., still around maybe into Thursday evening, and then it finally starts to taper off as you get into Friday. So that's a pretty long period of time to have the potential for moderate to heavy rainfall. So that's why when we look at some of the totals for Southern California, if we fast forward through Monday night, that's as of Monday 10 p.m., you notice parts of the central coast are up in the purple, which is 1 to 2 inches. Southern California at that point, still just maybe a few hundredths. But then as that second system drops in, so let's just fast forward all the way through here, that's where Los Angeles could be up to 5 inches, San Diego 3 inches, which are some of the higher rainfall totals that we see throughout the entire state when it comes to this storm. With that though, take it with a grain of salt, because based on how much the forecast models have been changing with these cutoff lows, I can almost guarantee that these totals are going to change again. Whether it leads to more rain or less rain, we'll just have to wait and see. But right now, the more confident part of the forecast is the rain that's expected to be coming in for the Bay Area and the Central Coast as we get into more Sunday night into the day Monday. Now you also might be wondering what's going to happen with snow. Let's just click all the way through here. Not a whole lot at the beginning of the storm because there's still a lot of warm air out there. But then as we click all the way through Thursday and Friday, there's a few places that it looks like we have 6 inches, which means at the very highest elevations, maybe you get a foot. But it's mostly going to be in your higher elevations because there is a lot of warm air with the system. So not the best storm in terms of snow, but I'd say it's a pretty great storm in terms of rainfall, just because it's a few inches in some places spread out over a long period of time, which is great for reservoirs, great for the water supply, great for future wildfire, and it's not as much of a threat when it comes to flooding. So that's all I'd say, some good news there. I'll most likely do another forecast tomorrow just based on how much these forecast models are changing. We'll certainly want to stay tuned with what's going to happen with that second system and how much rain it actually ends up bringing for Southern California. So you can subscribe to see a lot more weather forecasts throughout this winter and wildfire forecasts throughout fire season. And hopefully this video was helpful, and thanks for watching.